Hey, it's Mark B, the shade tree mechanic here in beautiful Tucson, Arizona. It's February 2012, and today I'm going to show you how to replace the fan clutch on an old Lincoln Continental. Here is our subject for this project. This is my '69 Lincoln Continental Mark III with a spray can paint job, but this guy needs a fan clutch. I'm going to open the hood. Now here's the engine, and as I've been working on getting this running recently, I noticed that the last time I fired it up, the fan spun. It didn't turn at all as the engine was running. And I reach in here, and you can see that I can pretty easily spin the fan, and that's not right. Based on the research that I've done, there should not be any play in there. You can see back in here, this is the fan clutch, this right in there, the ribbed kind of heat sink looking thing that bolts on to the front of the fan, and the fan, as you can see, bolts on to the fan clutch, and then the shaft right there is part of the fan clutch. Now to compare, let's go over here and take a look at my old Chevy truck, which does not have a fan clutch. To compare, you can see that the fan here is just totally mounted to the fan shaft, and that doesn't turn at all because it goes right into the water pump. So this is the older technology where the fan just spins all the time as long as the engine is running and cools the engine. I've never had an overheating problem on this. This is a 292 inline 6 cylinder, by the way, and this truck maintains a steady 190 degrees, which is no problem. But the Lincoln, on the other hand, has an overheating problem, so we're going to replace the fan clutch here. Now, replacing the fan clutch is pretty easy from the research that I've done. All we need to do is get in here and loosen these four. You'll see 4 bolts right here, and these mount to the water pump right in here. This whole thing should slide right out, the fan and the fan clutch. I'll remove it, and then I'll separate those two. So the next footage hopefully I'll have those 4 bolts loosened. Before I proceed, I want to illustrate how the fan clutch works, what the technology is. You can see that the fan clutch is essentially a wheel and axle, and it's heat activated. What it does is the fan mounts to this right here, and when the engine is at a low temperature, the fan doesn't spin very much at all. But inside here there's a bimetal strip that tightens up and clenches onto this axle so that the fan spins more at higher temperatures. So at lower temperatures the fan doesn't spin very much. At higher temperatures the fan spins more to cool the engine more. In the service manual it says that one of the ideas is to reduce noise of the fan and of the engine, so keep the fan running as little as possible. Also to increase fuel economy. I read some specifications that talk about the loss of horsepower when you're running the fan. So run the fan as little as possible, as opposed to the old technology where the fan is going all the time. So it's a pretty good idea. Alright, here we are. I got the fan and fan clutch out. This is original 1969 paint, as you can probably guess. Fan looks to be in pretty good shape. None of the fan blades are bent or anything, but the fan clutch is going to be replaced. So I'm going to undo these 4 bolts. The fan will come off like this, and I'll just put a new fan clutch in. One of the things I like to do when I take components out and then I put them back in is I like to clean them up and hit them with a coat of paint. So I'm going to continue this tomorrow because I'm going to clean up this fan and hit it with a wire brush and some black spray paint. But as I was doing this, I didn't want to have to undo the fan shroud in order to get it out, but I did have to undo the fan shroud, which is not a big deal. There's 2 bolts right here and there's clips down at the bottom. So to be continued tomorrow. Alright, here we are the next day and about to put the fan and fan clutch back in place. Check this out. As I mentioned yesterday, I hit the fan with a new coat of paint. cleaned it up, wire brushed it and everything, and looks brand new. I figure that if I do that every time I take a component off and put it back on, I'll have a totally new painted car in about 60 or 70 years. So anyway, the fan shroud is still loose. I'm going to drop this whole contraption down in here, tighten down the 4 bolts, tighten down the fan shroud, and we'll be good to go. Well, here we go. We got the whole assembly in place. As you can see right down there, boy, that fan is so black you can hardly see it in that space, but you can see the new fan clutch. I had a little bit of an issue with the fan shroud here. The fan shroud is attached at the top, but down at the bottom you can see it wiggle around like that. For some reason it wasn't fitting. The fan was hanging up on the bottom of the fan shroud, so I left it loose down there. I'll have to figure something out about that down the road, but you can see now, compared to yesterday, you can see how much stiffer this is, which indicates a new fan clutch. So next I'm going to fire it up and see what happens. Alright, it is now time to fire up the engine, and I'm still having trouble with the ignition. This right here is the starter solenoid, and I can get it started by jumping across these 2 big terminals here, like here to this one. For some reason I'm not able to start it from the ignition switch. I've either got a short in that wire or something. So I'm going to set down the camera and get this bad boy running here. Let's see, I'll put this. I'll put it right here. There we go. Alright, there we go. So you can see how you can jump around a solenoid like that. So let's look at the, I gotta get my idle up a little bit here. Whoop! Let's try that again. Well, I guess I flooded the engine, so I'm not going to be able to get it running while I still have light here. But anyway, that was the whole fan clutch repair replacement segment. So thanks for watching. I'm Mark B., the Shade Tree Mechanic in beautiful Tucson, Arizona. Peace.